Listen, I'm gonna be perfectly honest here. I am trying to put the battery in the back of Kendrick to go full out in this Drake back and forth because it has to be done. It's like Show Enough said on Last Dragon, like this is the battle for supremacy. Like it is. These guys are the number one and two in the mainstream's eyes in this generation, and they've been poking at each other for 10 years. It's time to get it on. It seems like at this moment, I'm gonna have to agree with Mad Max. It feels like Kendrick doesn't want the smoke with Drake. As weird as that sounds to people, that's what it feels like. Because I mean, you had a lot to say a few years ago, and he even had something to say on his most recent album. I think that's what woke Drake up when he said what he said about Kanye and Drake and him not understanding that because he's competitive. Well, you're competitive. Drake said, "Come on."
It's gonna be one of those days, huh? It's
He
one of those
did.
Fridays.
That's what he said. Like
One of those Fridays.
Mad Max with the super chat says, "LOL, Mike. My man's called me and said, what the f is wrong with Jim? He says Jimmy's not qualified to talk on Push like my man's was tight. Jim did bad with the slander." Well, listen, we're all qualified as hip hop fans to give our opinions and this and that, but I think if you're gonna do that, you got to be balanced. Me as an Outkast fan, as an Andre fan, I had to be realistic about even things that I say about other artists and apply them to the people that I like. I mean, those same things that Jim Jones is qualifying or disqualifying Pusha for could be said about a lot of the greats.
Can I briefly interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
So let's not even address Jim Jones. Let's address the levity of the claim. Of the claim. Okay, Mike. I mean, I just want you to keep it real. Like, we run a hip hop podcast and we know our shit. Can you quote 5 Big Daddy Kane or Cool G rap records word for word right now? Off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I would have to, you know what I'm saying? I could, but when you're being put on the spot, if somebody just pointed to you, it's like, Cool G rap, dead or alive, go.
I would tell you, it's a demo. Rikers Island, Talk Like Sex, Streets of New York, It's a Shame, Fast Life. But I'm different. I love G.
Yeah. And again, that's what I'm saying when Jim said that about Charlemagne and Charlemagne start quoting, he's like, "Oh, you a fan. I'm skipping to the next person."
Well, what about Kane, Mike? What about Ice Cube? What about Scarface? What about Slick Rick, DMX? Mike, what about Jim Jones, Cameron, and Joel Santana?
Right. Listen,
Mike, what about Ghost Ray and Meth?
Exactly. Well, I'm a super Ghost fan, so I could just start quoting stuff.
What about Thought and Kiss, Mike? What about Big Boy? Andre don't even have 5 songs.
Right. Exactly.
Mike, real shit. Kendrick, Cole.
Yeah.
Common.
For the common fan, that's difficult. But if you're really a fan of these individuals,
if you're a fan of their music or if you're a fan of the culture, then yes. And people who are a fan of the culture know his stuff and definitely know more than 5 songs.
And the people that Jim Jones was pointing to, I hate to say it, they looked like they knew nothing about hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, it was the camera dude.
Mike, don't stereotype people. That's not fair.
I only say this because they look like the guy that was interviewing Joe Budden at Hot 97 when the dude was asking Joe Budden about All Eyes on Me. And Joe Budden asked him, what's your favorite song on All Eyes on Me? And he was like, "Oh, I'm not really into rap. I listen to rock." He's like, "Why are you interviewing me? Or why are you here?" Those individuals, they look like that individual that was interviewing Joe Budden. And their response looked very much like his as well. So that's why I'm saying that. I'm not judging a book by its cover. I'm just saying. Those radio stations tend to have individuals in the backdrop that know nothing about hip hop. So that's more of an indictment on Power 105 than those two guys. I'm going to play what Jim Jones said, but let me get to these super chats real quick. Anime Bros podcast with a super chat says, "It wasn't Coop. They took his live American Gangster style, 3 style, and sampled it." Okay. his live AG 3-style and sampled it. Hove would never duck Wayne. Sorry. He said the Nas feature is the highlight, although the beat is trash as hell. We're gonna get to Swiss's album. The Nas song is cool, slightly underwhelming, but
we're gonna have to come. We're gonna come to Jesus today, Mike. You're gonna come with me.
Yeah,
no. You're gonna come with me, or you're gonna stand over there with the fans, and I'm gonna bring all of y'all to Jesus. You know what I'm saying? We are. You
like the record? We'll get to that. We'll get.
No. See, this is what I'm saying. See, y'all haven't been paying attention to how I've been talking. It don't matter if I like the record.
I got you.
The record didn't get made for your ass.
I feel you.
You need to get with it or get lost. But we gonna talk about it.
Okay. Mad Max to the super chat says, remember on one song, Drake said top 5, top 5, top 5. K-Dot come outside and say that he's smoking on your top 5. Dot, respectfully, you can't see Cole or Drake in no battle.
It's very
Talk to him, Mad Max.
Mike, you want to know what your shady behavior and tone to start this show? It's like trickle-down crack economics, Mike. It's trickling down.
Talk to him, Mad Max. Tell him to do something.
The room, crackonomics.
Tell him to do something, Mad Max. All right, this is what Jim Jones said on Breakfast Club. This is fair use. You know, we're doing this for research purposes. Here we go. Where is it? There we go. We own it today. Jim Jones on the Breakfast Club with the Pusha T Slander. Here we go.
Sing along the 5 Pusha T records right now. His records. Yes. Name them. Pusha. Nostalgia. Oh, you was a Pusha T fan. You know. I didn't know he had fans like that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No, his records.
Wait a minute. I didn't know he had fans like that. Y'all don't think this is slander? Okay.
No, can you rap to 5 Pusha? I can't rap 5. All right. Can you rap to 5? Wait. Can you rap?
He's pointing at the camera guy.
Pusha T records, not the records he's featured on. If 5 Pusha T records came on right now, could you rap them? You could rap.
I don't think it's fair to treat the cameraman this way in this situation.
Could you rap 5 Pusha T records?
Now he's pointing at the program.
Didn't he point at Envy?
Yeah, he pointed at Envy.
Could you sing them?
Verse for verse, they came on like certain joints. Like
no, not certain. No, I'm saying could you rap? All right, could you rap 5 J verses if they came on?
Absolutely.
Could you rap with 5 Drake verses if they came on?
Nah. You lying. But I've never been a big Drake fan.
You're lying because you work at radio. If 5 Drake records came on,
and now he's telling he's lying when it comes to Drake. This is weird, right? Like this is weird. Like I've never seen Jimmy vouching for Drake. I would imagine he would say 50 or something.
It's not even the vouching for Drake part. I've never seen Jim talk about another street dude like this.
Play on the radio all day.
I know. To lyric like I could do J, I couldn't, but he still dope. And he clipped. Jim started tapping his foot before he did that.
I'm just gonna say that because I don't want to get it because them niggas will be like, yo, Jim way wild on them. Shout out to Pusha T. I love your soul, my dog. You're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlamagne's top 50 and things like that. But you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life. I never thought like you did. Like where I'm from, niggas want to be like you if you was really that dude and that rapper and things like that.
It's like Pusha.
Shit.
He was influenced by Pusha.
Yeah? Okay, cool.
That's why Pusha did the Mr. Me Too record.
Okay, cool. You a very strong Pusha T fan. And I don't care because people be like, look at Jim talking. Nigga, you is nowhere near top 50. You top 950. You crazy. Like, you think I don't really care.
I would say that Pusha had I went to school in Virginia where Pusha was from, and I know Pusha a long time.
All right, if 5 Jim Jones records play right now on this radio, could you sing along to them? No? All right, cool. 5 Jim Jones records. I'm gonna get 5 Jim Jones records play right. 5 Jim Jones records. You can't tell me 5 Pusha T records, but you can tell me 5 Jim Jones records.
Okay.
You can't tell me 5 Pusha T.
We get it.
The slander. Jay Short with the super chat says, I think Jim is a little jealous. Most rappers would be relegated to the mixtape circuit after losing their group and producer, but Pusha persevered. Yeah. Listen, the longevity that Pusha's had, I don't understand the slander here. It does seem like there's an underlining thing, and that whole talking point about I never wanted to be like Pusha. It's like, well, he's really not in your generation. I honestly never wanted to be like any rapper that I was older than or
We're
that
the
was
same
in my
age as.
yeah. Or as the same thing with look.
Like,
I
love
have a
T.I. and
go
Wayne,
ahead.
Mike, but I don't want to be T.I. and Wayne. We about the same damn age.
I
We
was
all
just
on the
about to
same
say
age. I
that.
respect what they do. I love them to death, but I've never wanted to be them a day in my life.
I remember hearing T.I. early on because, we come from the same side of town and we know some of the same people. So I heard his stuff before, he really, got on, right? Like the early eras of stuff. And I was low key hating at the time. I'm like 17, 18. I'm like, I'm nicer than this nigga, whatever, whatever. And I've always kind of viewed it like that, but I respect what he does. There was never a point as an artist where I ever wanted to be like him because, like you said, I was past that stage where I wanted to be like a rapper. And I think that that's unfair for him to even say that about Pusha. Like, you're past that stage at that point, Jim, when you actually wanted to be like a rapper.
Right. Like, here's the thing. It's like, I love Pusha T. Like, by the time I became a fan of Pusha T,
right,
that whole being infatuated with other rappers was just over, period, by the time I even became a fan of his.
Exactly. That's why I say that's not fair to even go there because really, it's not for you to want to be like that MC. You need to ask somebody 20 years younger than you.
It's who you got to catch people in their formative years. It's when you catch people from 10 to 15. So it's like, no, like my idols are more like, Andre.
Literally, the people we grew up listening to.
Right,
but by
literally
the time,
grew up. Like I've been listening to like Andre and Nas and Wu-Tang since I was about 11, 12, Tupac, Big.
That's
12,
literally
13
like
years
me.
Old. Mike, I'm gonna tell you what. Part of the reason why I'm not as big as a Jay fan, because I'm gonna tell you what. Reasonable Doubt came out in '96. I was 15.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like certain things that already happened to me by the time that I was 15. That it's like I wasn't checking for no rappers like that. Like at that. You get what I'm saying?
I think I stopped looking.
Already had my guys.
And I want to clarify something too, man, because and not to jump around too much, but I do want to make sure I clarify this. Because I heard a Ludacris freestyle today that said something along the lines of basically people on the internet talking shit about him or something like that, right? And I want to clear up if anything's ever been misconstrued. Ludacris is a huge influence on me specifically in the Atlanta market, but in a different way than some of the other ones. He was the first one from a mainstream level to make it. And we needed that. Now, granted, I do believe from a core standpoint, T.I.'s influence and impact was felt more. But before Luda, there was a ceiling on solo rap artists. And he actually showed people in Atlanta that you could make it outside of Atlanta and be a national, global star. And I remember when he made it, a lot of people fell right after. It was like Lil Jon bumped up what he was doing. It was no longer local, and you could see that other people were trying to achieve for other things. But I don't know if he's talking about, the GIP interview, some of our conversations. But yeah, I want to make it clear, Ludacris has incredible impact. But I will say that I think that's probably...
Did somebody pull up on you? Did somebody pull up on you and say we're being disrespectful to Luda or something?
Nah. I just want, when I heard that, I was like, who else talks about Luda in that way? I know we've had our conversations.
No, Gip has been saying something.
Gip did, and I think Gip was very respectful in it as well, and I think Gip was just being honest. Gip's always being honest.
But that doesn't mean it wasn't taken a certain type of way. I'm just saying, it's not us.
Yeah. And the fact that, and even if that, we just got to be honest about the narrative, right? I mean, we're not going to sit here and lie and act like when, back for the first time and Word of Mouth came out, the streets was flooded with, Luda records, like the streets of Atlanta, like it was when T.I. was doing what he was doing. It was just different. I think they both opened up different avenues.
Just got the notification for the show. That's great. Mike, most people in rap have about 5 to 7 solid years if they're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do with their legend in those 5 to 7 years really enables them to show the endurance of the career. So when you have somebody like AKRS1 who comes out and makes a Criminal Minded and a By All Means Necessary, the strength of that enables him to carry on because of what he did in those first 5 years. He made other stuff too. I'm just using those to highlight it. Same thing with Nas and Illmatic and It Was Written. Same thing with Jay and Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1 or Volume 2, depending on how you feel, street-wise to hit-wise. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Big with the whole Big Run, Mike, the Big Run is an example of how it can endure. And really, it's about what you do in a 5 to 7 year stretch. And what Luda did in a 5 to 7 year stretch has endured some, but not like the all-time greats. But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's perfectly okay. Like it's different for everybody. But this is what I'm saying too. A lot of that is related around making classic albums. I got some hot take thoughts that I kind of wanted to share today. But I'm gonna tell you what the first one is, since we're kind of keeping it southern, and I brought up Gip. And this is what I mean about being groundbreaking. Well, Luda had a better career than Goody Mob, but Goody Mob is way more revered, Mike.
Well,
And it's not, no, Mike, listen to what I'm saying. Let me finish. It's not because they kind of kept it southern. No, Mike, it's because they made soul food. And because Luda doesn't have anything close to soul food. Like, imagine if Goody Mob were to come out today, Mike, and to make soul food, Mike, they would be the biggest group in rap right now. It would be like having Earth Gang, JID, and Cole in one group, like literally at once with some social commentary, like after a pandemic and like all that. No, like Luda doesn't have anything like that sticks to people's ribs. And that's the thing. He had a good run. It's kind of like a Curtis Martin situation. Remember Curtis Martin?
mm-hmm.
Like Curtis Martin was great for like about 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And he was always steady. Do anybody talk about Curtis Martin with the greatest running backs of all time?
No.
All his numbers are there.
I think, and you're right about Goody Mob. And I remember when Goody Mob came out, they were on Rap City. Joe Claire, highly respected. He got on Rap City and said, "This is my favorite group right now." Goody Mob had a huge impact when they came in the game in '95. And like you said, it endured. It stuck. I think Luda's whole thing was to make hit records. And I think he approached this thing from a hit record standpoint. He was coming from radio, right? And at the time, again, Atlanta needed that. We literally didn't have any solo acts that were on a national level. All of our solo acts were local. Kilo was local. Raheem was local. You know what I'm saying? And for him to do that when he did it with What's Your Fantasy, and I would say, I don't want to say put Atlanta on the map in that way, but show a different side of Atlanta on a national level that people hadn't really seen before, it was necessary.
And that was a good look, Mike.
It was a great look, but people who came behind him did more. I'm
gonna tell you how it looks too, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Luda has it. Luda's from the Midwest originally.
Yeah.
His tone, like a lot of people from the Midwest, and I know because my family's from the Midwest, is where I get my tone from. Well, it's very clear and it's very crisp, which means it's great for speakers. It's great for radio.
Yeah.
Being in the South and having that voice, like a voice that is clear and has clarity to it, because a lot of people down here have heavy accents and Southern draws, specifically in the more inner city colored areas, you know what I mean? Like we're on the map, you know what I mean? There are more people of color living. A lot of people down here look at it like, well, he kind of like used the radio. And that really didn't work for a lot of people because a lot of people down here don't have the voice to do radio like he does, Mike. And I'm being very serious when I say that.
And musically also.
Cujo and Gip don't have no, be a radio DJ host type of clear voices where everybody can understand every single word and kind of, you know what I mean?
And on another aspect, too, when a lot of people down here heard Luda, and I get this all the time, too, it's like, he didn't sound like them to him. I mean, he didn't sound like them to them. You know what I mean? And
Because he's from Champaign, I think,
yeah,
Illinois.
and so it's like that draw that we were getting from Outkast, Goody Mob, and even T.I., Youngblood, Sean Paul specifically, you aren't hearing from, Luda. And so not saying there's a disconnect, because we're always going to be proud and happy for Luda and his success and everything he accomplished. It was necessary. But from a grassroots level, they don't view you like Backbone or anything like, because I mean, just the Southern drawl just wasn't there, especially at that time. Now things are different.
No, but Mike,
yeah,
what I'm trying to tell you is somebody that was raised in the South. I've lived in Charlotte and Atlanta most of my life, but vocally I sound like my people from Ohio. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, no, I've gone through it my whole life. So like I understand like very clearly that it's like, no, the whole question, like people ask me all the time, it's like, how can you be from the South? You talk so clearly, Coop.
Yeah,
you talk like you from up top.
Right.
You talk like you from the Midwest. It's like, well, my family pop side's from Youngstown. They like, oh, that's it. And it's literally been my whole life. And because of that, because I don't talk Southern, people have difficulty identifying with me as a Southerner. Mike, it hurt me in my rap career. You know what I'm saying? Like, It hurt me in trying to start my rap career. Like, Mike, you sound like you from a part of Atlanta. You do sound like Andre a little bit. You do sound like T.I. a little bit. A little bit of your inflection in your draw. It's like, no, that nigga from Atlanta.
Well, I went on that tangent to say Luda was probably the last rapper that I could say that I probably looked up to. And again, that's like 17 years old. So that's unfair for Jim Jones to even throw that in the conversation.
Okay.
I think it was probably the last one, because everybody after that, it was like, well, shit, I'm grown now. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, first of all, I didn't look up to a lot of guys, but I mean, it was pretty much like, for me, it was mostly like Andre, Nas, for me. You know what I'm saying?
I think with Luda, once again, I looked up to the process. I probably would have never even gotten in the radio if it wasn't for Luda. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the truth.
Word. See, Nas made me want to rhyme. Andre made me believe that I could do it, because the shit that he was talking about, I was like, oh, no, I know that shit. I done been there.
Well, I think Luda, when I saw him on, I remember Video Music, not Music, yeah, was it Video Music Box or The Box? And I remember when he got on 106 and all of that stuff, I'm like, it seemed real at that point, because Outkast and Goody Mob was always superstars to us. But we actually saw the whole process of Luda making it. We saw him doing like the drops for DJ Nabs. We saw him getting like the midnight show, and then we saw him and Poon Daddy getting the 6 to 10 drive show. Then we saw him put out his independent project. We saw him debut What's Your Fantasy on his show, and then we saw him sign the Def Jam, and it was like, oh yeah, this could really happen.
See, I looked at it differently, because while all that's going on, I'm in Carolina, but they're talking about the stuff that I remember from my childhood. Like, one of my mom's friends went to Tri-Cities with Big Boy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when he's on Over the Woods and it's 96 and I'm in Charlotte on West Boulevard and he's spitting the shit that he's spitting, I'm like, oh no. It's like, that's my mom's friend got the same story about him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
About him and the little broke down rabbit and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what I mean about it making me believe. It's like, no, I was from there, but I was like far away. I was like, I'm from Atlanta, but I went back to where my family was from. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm hearing all this stuff, I'm like, oh, home.
Let me get to these super chats before people stop sending them. No, but I feel you. 36 Chambers says, I could rap 5 Pusha T verses long before I could give you a single Jim Jones verse. Clout chasing plain and simple. Shameful washed up. Shameful washed up has been. Shaking my hand. Jay Short with the super chat says, we got to stop letting class clowns speak on valedictorians. Jim Jones clout chasing and wouldn't hate on another New York artist like this. Anime Bros with the super chat says, does Jim have classics like He's Talking?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I mean,
that's more where I was going, Mike. I was more in the frame of mind. It's like, I mean, I'm gonna tell you what, because we're about to talk about Swiss in a minute. Like, his first record Well, Mike, he made his first record for dudes like us, like the Jim Jones record, Preach. I think that might be my favorite Jim Jones record next to Ball, and most people don't even know about Preach on the Swiss joint, Mike. But Jim's snapping on there.
Yeah.
But so when he's saying something like that, and I know like one of his 5 best records, most people may not even know because I don't care what anybody says. Preach is one of his 5 best solo records.
Jason Sweet with the super chat says, "Peace Kings. Thanks, Coop, for liking my cousin Red McFlair's production on Fuego Bass album. On the track, The Warehouse, Take a Look, and others I sent you."
No. We I gotta. I'm gonna be listening to your man stuff this weekend, and we're gonna have a conversation soon. I like what I'm hearing. You know. Yeah.
Dope.
So,
Jay Short.
You dope, Mike. I'm gonna pass him over to you too. Like,
yeah. I want to hear it too.
Yeah.
Jay
You got
Short.
some stuff, Mike. You got some notarized tracks. See, this is what I mean. The game is totally different now. There are guys like him floating around that's not even getting like any of the burn that they deserve just because people aren't like checking for who the producer is anymore and haven't talked to this guy. Right.
It's the fine print, man. Like, we don't have the booklets and stuff like that anymore. That really did a lot. Jay Short Short with the super chat says, "How are we comparing Luda to T.I.? Luda had to clear 2 Chainz first, right? Chainz got bigger legacy than Luda." This is what I'm gonna tell you, Jay Short.
Mike, what say you? Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Listen, man, I never, ever thought I would see the day where I would say I actually enjoy 2 Chainz music more than Luda's. That's not to knock Luda's, just 2 Chainz has stepped it all the way up. And he's done it over an extended period of time. But I don't think his impact, that could supersede the Ludacris impact and what Luda did in the time period that he did it and how he did it. Because again, we needed Luda to come through in the way that he did so that somebody like T.I. could be more than just a local act. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but here's what I think sometimes that you're missing. When you and not a lot, not as a whole, but sometimes when I hear you talk about Luda, the part of it that you're missing is that I think that because for you, especially with vocally for you, because you have a radio voice, Mike, and you probably have heard that a lot of your life or a fair amount of time. Well, you can relate to Luda more than the average brother down here. These dudes would rather be Chainz, Mike, and I'm gonna just tell you what, like for me, when I heard Chainz on Chicken and Beer when he was still Titty Boy, I was like, Mike, the way that I talk about Stove, when I first heard Stove, that's how I was talking about Titty Boy, aka Chainz, when I was like first hearing Chainz and he started popping up on stuff. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck that is, but he's a star. Like when he popped up as 2 Chainz, Mike, and I heard Riding Around I'm Getting, and they were like, Riding Around I'm Getting It by 2 Chainz. I was like, who done stole Titty Boy whole style? I was like, we need to find this nigga. And then I found out awesome. I was like, because he was a star. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right.
And because of the streets, Mike, dudes in the street already knew who he was. Like I knew who Chainz was, like in the streets, like really before I even knew he was like a rapper. Like just from word of mouth, because my people would be down at 20 grand and be down at Old Net. You know what I'm saying? And be down like where his people used to be at, like before like the rap shit. Like he already had a rep, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit matters.
I got Chainz's music over Luda's. And I'll take it a step further, and y'all might kill me for this. Now, obviously, stylistically, Luda probably has one of the dopest flows and styles we've ever seen. Yes. Very versatile.
Very Redman. He's like a Southern Redman for me in that regard.
Yeah, it's kind of Redman Buster-ish in the sense where, you know, he got that flow and the patterns. And
it's more red to me because it's more intentional.
Yeah. But I think bar for bar, Chainz is nicer. And that's just my opinion, you know.
I agree. He's a better storyteller too, Mike. Like Chainz connects more on a personal level too, and that seems kind of crazy because Luda was the radio host. But that's what I mean. Like Chainz just says things where it's like you just relate to it more.
So high I could parallel park on the fucking runway, going down the one way the wrong way, shift barrel long range. Swag like pro ball, gave her a ring, phone call, money tall pole vault, walked in, drove off. So comfortable at the dealership, I don't take my robe off. Yeah. Our man with the super
Say
chat
less.
says, peace. I think it's time to stop debating best borough and start debating best cities for MCs. Long Island versus New Orleans. Long Island has
Okay, so when you're
legends.
saying city, so
We still staying up top though. Long Island has the legends, but NO might have the better catalog. What say y'all?
But what is Long Island sucking up some boroughs? Like, are you just talking about the city of Long Island outside of the boroughs?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just talking about Long Island as Long. Listen, Long
I mean,
Island.
well, what about
Long
Yonkers,
Island has Public
New
Enemy and Eric B. and
Rochelle,
Rakim.
Mount Vernon, Buffalo.
Long Island has Eric B. Rakim and Public
They got
Enemy.
Rakim. Eric's from Queens. Boy.
Okay. Well, they're a group though. You know what I'm saying? So they have
'cause
that
right.
catalog.
Hold on. How do you be? Your girl met with Eric Barrier from East Elmhurst.
Yeah.
Ain't that Queens?
Yeah, he's from Queens.
They from Queens.
All right, but we still. I mean, if you got Long Island,
that's
you got
closer to
Rakim, right? We're not gonna say you can't play Eric B. and Rakim stuff. So you got Rakim, Public Enemy, De La Soul. Good luck with that.
It's very hard to beat.
Good luck with that.
No, it's very hard to beat.
You know, Michael Williams with the super chat says, "What's the better song, Creep by TLC or Are You That Somebody by Aaliyah?" Creep easily. That's a random question, but Creep easily.
No, Mike, I'm like the tangent right quick because I've been looking for an excuse to tangent on this. You've been saying for the whole time we've been doing this podcast that you think Jade's Don't Walk Away is the best R&B song of the 90s and epitomizes what the 90s sounds like, correct?
Correct.
Mike, I beg to differ, Mike. I think it's SWV's Weak.
It's a whole different dynamic.
It's not.
Why would you say weak? Why would you say weak? What sounds
It's just
like
something about Weak that like kind of like encapsulates and signifies like that moment in time. Like sound wise, stylistically, and it's and as much as you hate to admit it, it connects more and it stayed longer than Don't Walk Away. Like Don't Walk Away may have a better beat, but it doesn't have a better vibe. It doesn't have a better feel. It doesn't have the staying power. Weak is the R&B song. They kind of encapsulate the 90s feel.
I think that
put it up in the chat.
I think this, and I see what you're saying. I think you have to have a ballad and an up tempo because they give you two different feels. Like people feel weak on a different level because of what Coco's doing vocally, whereas Don't Walk Away is more about the hook and the production.
It's not our problem.
Excellent record.
It's not our problem, Mike.
CJ Kid with the super chat.
I think Stay by Jodeci might be better too, but that's just personal.
Stay is great. No.
Stay by Jodeci.
I'm not gonna quibble with you on that. Stay is incredible, man. Jodeci was also
Stop playing with me.
Yeah.
Carolina in the building, you know.
Yeah, Stay is incredible. CJ Kid with the super chat says,
or Forever My Lady, Mike. Which way you want to go? Stay Forever My Lady? Man.
Well, when it comes to Jodeci, Forever My Lady, I mean, that's top 5, but I would go Stay. I like I'm Still Waiting better than Forever My Lady from the first album. Then you got the whole Diary of a Mad Band, like the first 3 songs. Like
I was thinking the first 6 songs on Diary of a Mad Band. Yeah, Ride and Slide, What About Us?
Yeah, What About Us?
Yeah. Cry for You. Cry for You is pretty epic.
Yeah. Yeah. CJ Kid with the super chat says, "What's up, guys? Just wanted to know from you guys what's the objective top 10 Southern hip hop albums? You guys are qualified to answer this best. 10 is a lot. Aquemini's definitely there, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think Soul Food's there.
I agree.
I think We Can't Be Stopped.
The Diary by Scarface.
Yeah, The Diary has to be there. Southern's Virginia Down, right?
Virginia is for lovers. That's Southern shit if I ever heard.
Yeah, Virginia Down. Man, I'm going to have to think about it because I do believe...
Can I get some Hell Hath No Fury up in here? Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, my thing with 3-6, man, I don't think Mystic Styles is their best album, but it's probably the most impactful.
Mr. Don't Play is the best album out the camp. That's the one that would make the top 10.
You're right. Mr. Don't Play is the one. You're right.
Straight
Straight up.
3-6 the group, but Mr. Don't Play the album.
Yeah.
You
Mr.
do
Don't
the
Play.
album. Like Method Man's the star of the Wu-Tang, Mike, but Supreme Clientele and the Purple Tape are the albums.
No, you're right. Yeah, Mr. Don't Play is definitely there. I think Trap Music by T.I. is there.
I'm cool with that. So where are we at? Are we letting Hell Hath No Fury in? Like
I think no. Hell Hath No Fury, definitely.
So so we got Hell Hath No Fury, Soul Food, Aquemini, Trap Music, The Diary.
The Diary, Mr. Don't Play.
Mr. Don't Play, that's 6.
I also think that I had a tip of my tongue. 400 Degrees.
Hold on, Trap Music, Mr. Don't Play,
400 Degrees is there.
Aquemini, The Diary, Soul Food, 400 Degrees.
Southern Playalistic.
Hold on, 400 Degrees. Yeah, that's cool.
Coming Out Hard, Riding Dirty.
You think 2 UGK albums?
Now I said Coming Out Hard, Riding Dirty.
Oh, you said Coming Out Hard, 8
Yeah.
Ball MJG. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Coming Out Hard is one of the best albums I've ever heard.
No.
Straight up.
That would probably Mike. I can agree with that 10. Where are we at 10? Was that 10?
Might have been. Does J. Cole stay off? Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. That's why we need to cover. Make sure we got it right. So let's go solo artists. We got Trap Music,
Mm-hmm.
The Diary. Is that it for solo artists?
Might be. Oh no, Mr. Don't Play.
Mr. Don't Play. That still feels like a group album. It's kind of purple tape.
Right.
Mr. Don't Play. We got Aquemini and Southern Playalistic. That's 5. We got Soul Food.
Yep.
400 Degrees. There go Juvie. That's a solo
Yeah.
album. That's kind of cliquish too, though.
Yeah.
Coming Out Hard.
Riding
Dirty. Hell Hath No Fury. Yeah, that's 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure we
There you
left
go.
off some, but Michael Williams.
Some honorable mentions. People are probably mad at ATLians right now.
Right. I'm sure. they are.
Or let me see, what else would people be mad at? We ain't put a Wayne album on there, so people are like, "Where's the Carter 2,
Where's the Carter
3 at?"
3? Yeah. Michael Williams with the super chat says, "Which one is better, Biggs? One about the dark skinned Jermaine, or Nas's one about the Ike with Iverson jersey?" Well, yeah, man, that's tough.
It depends on what you're looking for, because one of them wore suede in the rain, and one of them is at the backstage of the concerts in the Iverson jersey at Iverson's peak.
As much
And that was kind of, if I'm going to tell you what, if we're going on a sneak this level, it's the Iverson shot because of all the commentary going on at the time.
Are we asking which one's the better song or better line?
That's debatable, too.
Me personally, as much as I love What Goes Around Comes Around, that's your nobody to somebody kills you. And not by a lot.
No. But dark skinned Jermaine, isn't he in Niggas Bleed?
Oh, I thought that was your nobody to somebody kills you. I guess that's the
he's
first
in
thing
there,
I
but that's why.
Yeah.
Jermaine, what's his name? Dark skinned Jermaine. See what
Yeah.
he's on. Somebody Gotta
in.
Die, or he's on something before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's on part 1.
But I think his highlight is on, your nobody to somebody kills you.
Your nobody somebody kills you is the better record, and I don't say that too often about What Goes Around as a record.
Because I think that's one of the strongest records on Stillmatic.
I think it's the best overall record on Stillmatic.
And that just shows you how strong Life After Death and Biggie Smalls is.
No. I think Your Nobody Till Somebody Kill You might arguably be the best song on Life After Death.
It's
though.
possible. It's possible.
Right. Like, that's a top 5 Life After Death song. Like,
Yeah. Xavier Logistics with the super chat says, Nas actually told a great story on Runaway, but it's easy to miss on the first listen. He gave the origin of the Nasty Nas, then he jumped up into today looking back on it. The beat knocks as well. Esquire with the super chat says, are y'all going to put Luda through the rubric anytime soon? He should trump a lot of the MCs in that 30 to 40 range. Hard to believe how underrated he's become. We should do that since we're having a Luda conversation and since he's kind of addressing some of these things. I think you're right. He may be talking about some of the art of dialogue stuff, but again, I thought Gip was respectful. Definitely.
He might have been respectful. Mike, he might be respectful. Just because somebody's being respectful don't mean that you like what they're saying. Like, plenty of people will say nice things, and you may still not like it. It's like somebody could tell, how about this? If somebody tells Kevin Durant, it's like, oh, well, you're the second best player of this generation. Maybe third.
Might
and
not
it's
like that.
Oh, it might be true. Might not like that shit, though. Feel me? Because he's clearly second, and how you feel about him and Steph, he's third. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's like, if you were to tell him, it's like, well, you're third in this generation because, well, you got 2 rings, but LeBron and Steph got 4. It's like, you might not like it. It might be true a little bit. It depends on how you feel.
You think Golden State's going to make it out of this series, by the way?
I don't, Mike, but do you see what Devin Booker looks like when he's the second option on a team? Mm-hmm. That's what's frightening to me is like people don't understand is it's like, well, no, that's why I picked Phoenix is because it's like, no, people are going to pay attention to KD and he's still going to go get you 25 to 30. But Book is very, very Kobe-like in the sense that it's like he can get 50 really easy. Easy. Not like hard, but easy. Like, did you see that? That was an easy 45. That's a problem if they stay healthy. Yeah. Like, if Chris Paul hits half of his shots, they blow them out the water last night. Like, Chris Paul played one of the worst games I've ever seen him play, and I've been watching him since he was in high school. That's one of the worst games he's ever played in his life, Mike. He ain't about to play that way. Like, and Russell Westbrook can't play any better.
Well, I don't really trust Chris Paul in the playoffs, but hey.
Mike, you're not gonna disrespect Carolina like that, okay? I want to let people know something. How about this? Carolina. Well, we got Chris Paul, Steph Curry, and Michael Jordan. I'll put them at the 1, the 2, the 3, and I'll run anybody from any city off the motherfucking court. I don't care who at the 4 or 5.
Y'all ain't got no 3 that you could really.
We got Brandon Ingram, Mike.
Okay.
We got Brandon Ingram.
Okay.
If you're gonna give me both Carolinas, we got Zion when he's like walking on 2 feet. I'll just stick with North Carolina because that's where I'm personally born. But it's like, yeah, we got Brandon Ingram. Who else we got? Ooh, somebody else is from the town that Brandon Ingram's from that made it out there before him.
Let me get to these super chats.
You get to the super chats. We're gonna do a quick little.
Mad Max of the super chat says the whole mini segment about accents explains New York bias perfectly. Being about to talk clearly is a skill. This is why Obs and I guess he's talking about he's talking about Drake. He's talking about Aubrey. This is why Drake, Dot, and Cole still the industry darlings. Yeah, because I guess they can appeal to everybody, right? Mad Max of the super chat says Jay Short lost his mind. Chainz over Luda. Yeah, that's how far behind we are.
Well, Mike, that's who I got. I got Brandon Ingram and Jerry Stackhouse too.
Oh, you got Jerry Stackhouse. There you go.
Yeah, I got Stackhouse.
Mario Williams with the super chat says, "Love, fellas. Just enjoying the show. Keep doing what y'all doing. Appreciate the love. Appreciate it."
Hey, Mike, that's real. Remember when I was telling you I was getting all the love in New York? Mm-hmm. People know who we are in New York. Mike, the voice is part of it. Part of why we don't get the same love down here is because, like, we don't sound like as Southern as these other podcasts that are down here. It's a fact. It's real. It's part of why we got an overseas following that a lot of these Southern podcasts don't have. It's why when I walked in, it's literally, Mike, while I was walking the streets of New York and motherfuckers was like, "What's up, Coop?" I was walking the streets of New York, niggas was like, "What's up, Coop? Love the podcast." And they so used to the shit. They so used to seeing niggas up there. They like, "Yeah, nigga, how you doing? What up? Boom, 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 bam." Like, get the fuck on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though. I never really thought about it from that standpoint.
Oh, I thought about it day and night, Mike. I didn't sleep.
Mad Max of the super chat says, Connie Diamonds is a black rapper whose whole Move B remake that's moving up in NY. He said, Chainz don't have one of those songs that moves B or roll out. He said Chainz ain't got to move B or roll out. People play roll out like that. Lie. I don't know, man. I don't know about that one, Mad Max. I don't know about that one. Again, I don't want to be disrespectful, but Chainz got
it. You might be stretching out for Luda a little bit on that one, fam. I think No Lie is better than Move. I'm going to be honest with you.
Somebody said I'm always shading Luda. Is that the tone that y'all are getting? I'm not, man. Like, and that's again, it's so funny, Coop. People feel like people based on what people are saying or thinking, you would think that I'm not a fan of Luda or 3000. And I'm a huge fan of both.
Well,
I
Mike,
guess maybe I'm just extra critical on people that I like a lot. I've done that
there
to
we go.
Method
But
Man.
Mike, you want to know what it is? I'm gonna tell you something about you. It's you don't clarify and qualify sometimes. You just be going the fuck off.
But maybe that's what it is.
You just be like, I'm gonna tell you why I feel the way I feel. Boom, boom, bam. You be out. I be like, yo, Mike, can we? You be like, no, I ain't trying to. Like people be thinking I'm the one that's not trying to hear the shit. Mike, we end up in these debates because I'm in a place to question, and you ain't never in a place to question. You be like, no, that's about it, nigga.
Listen, I love Luda and I love 3000. I want that to be perfectly clear. Jay Short with the super chat says, for the chat, Luda is a better lyricist than Chainz, but Chainz is a sort of a pop culture icon, and Luda don't have a pretty girls make trap music.
So what?
Listen, man. I mean, I think they're both great.
Lyricist than almost all these guys. How many? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think both of them are great personalities. I remember when Luda
they're both great lyricists.
Yeah, that too. I remember when Nelly and Luda did their verses, and Luda was kind of doing the hosting type of thing, and I'm like, yo, he's still
Well, I didn't
got
like
it.
it.
He is a great personality. I don't think a lot of y'all understand how great of a radio personality Chris Lover was. And he hadn't been doing it for a long time. He didn't even do it for a long time. And in my opinion, and this is no slander, shade, or anything, as great of a rapper as y'all feel like he is, which he is, he
might have been a better radio host than he was even a rapper.
He is a better radio host than he is a rapper. And that's not slighting the rapping. That's just saying how great he was. I think him and Poon Daddy had the best radio show in the history of Atlanta, in my opinion.
People who heard Mike Roberts in the morning with Joyce Littell will say different, Mike, from the old school.
Yeah,
old
but I was a
V103. That's the house that Mike Roberts built V103.
Yeah, straight up.
What it is, straight up. So I grew up on Mike Roberts and Joyce Littell in the morning with my mom down in Atlanta on Piedmont Road. So a lot of people think that they're the greatest. I'm not going to argue with that. But Luda and Poon would be second, Mike.
Pound for pound, I'm going to say Ryan Cameron's the greatest, right? And that's just for me, my generation. Ryan Cameron's the first person I ever heard play hip-hop on Atlanta radio, period. Consistently. You know what I'm saying? Like
consistently, yes.
Yeah, he was the only person playing hip-hop on the only radio station that we had for hip-hop, or black music, I would say, R&B at the time. In 92, 91, I remember him playing TLC, and then he played ABC, and then Crisscross, and then when Cass came out.
He was playing Jump and Hat to the Back and all that. Yep, I remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I will give him that. But as far as for me, in my formative years, it's Greg Street, he really stated a claim on that 6 to 10 spot. I stopped listening to Greg Street when Chris Lover and Poon Daddy came on. And that takes a lot, because Greg Street's the one that introduced us to Goody Mob, Outkast. Greg Street would play the whole Goody Mob album when it was new.
I remember.
He would play the whole
I would come down here. I would come down here during the summers, and I would hear him playing.
Yeah, he would play it from top to bottom. Skits and everything. Mm-hmm. And Greg Street's still that dude. But the fact that Chris Lover and Poon made me switch from Greg Street, that just shows you how strong of a radio show they had. Lala, who people know from, MTV and her acting or whatever, she was on that show too. It was Chris Lover, Poon, and Lala. Yeah. All on the radio.
Yeah.
It was real, yeah.
Yeah.
Esquire with the super chat says, Slander. Chainz doesn't have a word of mouth or a chicken and beer. I'll see, nigga. Y'all are going to make us pull out one of these verses, man. Do y'all really want to do that?
Mike, first of all, you need to be worried about this first L that you're going to take on these Nas and these Jay-Z features. Because you know what I thought about, Mike? The B-sides are where the legend is with Nas.
It is. Most definitely. With both B-sides, of them.
The B-sides are, I really thought about it. It's well, if you go look at the hit records, not just him, but a lot of guys can say that they have more hit records. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys can say a lot of stuff. Mike, I was pulling up these B-sides and these features. It's like, and we just doing features. Mike, the feature game is, I don't care what anybody says. He has the best feature catalog ever too. Like he has rap's best album catalog. No. He got rap's best feature catalog too. Yes, he does.
We're going to see. Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat
Catch
says,
your smoke, Mike. I want 25 songs because I want to bury you. Like Mike, I don't think
No,
you
you gotta
I want to
pick
do
the
it
best
for 25
20.
songs because I want you to lose like 17 to like 7. Like, I want you to lose bad, Mike. I feel like Clubber Lang when he beat Rocky's ass, Mike. You in all types of trouble.
Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, the fix belongs over Hell Hath No Fury or King. Hell Hath No Fury is overrated. Sorry, not sorry. Hell, put ATLiens in and give Cass 3 seminal top 10 albums.
ATLiens was the best album that you named out of those 3. And
You don't think the fix belongs in there? I love the fix.
I love the fix too. It's not top 10.
It's a 5 mic album, by the way.
It's not better than ATLiens though.
You don't think the fix is better than ATLiens? I don't think so either.
I
don't think so either.
I don't.
And I like the fix a lot. Jay Short with
No, I love
super
the
chat.
fix. I love Face more than you do. I'm telling you. Like my Face and my Outkast love is equal. I'm telling you unbiasedly that ATLiens is better than the fix. Outkast's third best album is better than his third best album. Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat says, was dark-skinned Jermaine a subliminal for another rapper? I always thought that he may have been dissing somebody. It always felt like Big was talking about somebody. Like, it's never...
Everybody was talking about Big.
Well, that's what it's like when you're on top. But no, I mean, everything that he said, I doubt it was just some random dark-skinned Jermaine. I don't know. I don't know who he was talking about. Maybe
I
we
like
need
the
to
fact
ask
that he
Steve.
invented dark-skinned Jermaine. Why can't he be a character? Why can't Big be insightful and brilliant enough as a writer that he created a whole character?
That's possible. Very possible.
Yes.
Anime Bros podcast with the slanderous super chat. He says, Gip is a clown. I disagree. I think that Anime Bros podcast feels that way because he's a Jay-Z fan. And Gip didn't kiss the ring. Listen, I disagree with some of the positions that Gip had on the Jay thing, but overall I understand it. And again, I'm younger than Gip, so Jay came around during my formative years where I looked up to a lot of the stuff that he was doing in ways that Gip just may not have. You know what I mean?
I stopped looking up the dudes by the time I was 15. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, if you didn't catch me, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Andre and Nas and Wu-Tang, all those guys, they got me at 12 and 13.
Yeah.
Like, it was tough for me to latch on to anybody. And like, Mike, even becoming a Bone fan, that happened like in 95. Mobb Deep happened in 95. That's like when I closed the door. I was like, and there'll be no more ladies.
And I said that, Luda was the last one, but at no point did I look to Luda like I did like Method Man and Redman. Those guys caught me early. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. When they catch you early, like, it's like, no, like, I think Lupe is the shit. But by the time Lupe came along, I was like,
yeah.
No, he's great.
Because when I heard How High, it changed everything for me. I was
right.
like, yo.
The World Is Yours changed everything. Cream changed everything. Mike, Keep Your Head Up changed everything.
Shadow boxing, when I seen that
Ain't
video.
No Thing. Yeah, I was just thinking that out, like, Ain't No Thing. Who, Crumbling? No. That changed shit for me.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to do that shit.
Right. Topping that with the super chat says, anyone listen to Banks? Cootie 3. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Michael Williams with the super chat says, is the second verse of Feel the best verse of the 2010s? Bonus question, is there a verse on Magic or Cheat Codes that would be better than Feel? I'm glad he pointed out that second verse on Feel because that's one of my favorite Kendrick verses. And
It's his best verse.
It could be his best verse.
Best verse.
Great verse. Is it the best verse of the 2010s in your opinion?
From 2010 to 2020, is that what we're saying?
Yes.
It's in the conversation, yes.
Well, I know this because I've done the research before and I had to look up this song. But 2009, I want to say it was like November or December of 2009, we got Exhibit C by Jay Electronica. I would put that ahead of that verse, but doesn't qualify, obviously. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, The Minstrel Show, good one, And Thug Motivation 101, I guess, fall in the 11 to 20 in the Southern albums, if not top 10.
Correct.
You know, for back then though, it's like
Affirmative.
it's very difficult to really rate something like the Minstrel Show because what Lil Brother was doing at the time was just it's kind of like what Doom and Madlib
Forest
were
Hills was in
doing,
there too.
huh?
Forest Hills is in there too.
Yeah,
At
but
11 to 20.
Forest Hills comes at a time where the game is kind of adjusted to that. The Minstrel Show comes around at a time where everybody's still kind of on TV and on radio, and it falls under the radar because it's just not in the system and in the cycle like everybody else. So when we talk about impact and all of those things, it's hard to really, quantify with its peers because it was independent where everything else wasn't. And it wasn't independent in a sense where it was coming out hard type of independent where it was in the streets, or 3-6 independent where it was in the streets, where you could gauge the street gravity from it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like when we were talking about last week when somebody asked if nobody hears an album, is it classic? You know what I mean? And I think that, not saying nobody heard Minstrel Show, but to the casual fan, like Jim Jones likes to say, they probably never even heard the album. Even though it's a great album, it's a classic album in my opinion.
Go through some of these super chats. Go ahead.
Okay. Leroy Green with the super chat says, since Nas is Mr. Lyrical Miracle around these
Hey,
parts.
Leroy.
He said, around these parts, how do y'all see Jay Electronica? Aside from, of course, not making albums, just purely lyricism. I think Jay Electronica is incredible.
Just said. Mike, do you hear? Leroy,
Yeah.
What's up, fam?
Leroy, are you
Fam.
trolling? I mean, I see what you're trying to
Leroy,
say. But...
did you just say aside from making albums, how do we feel? Listen to what you're saying.
I
man.
think Jay Electronica.
Look, Mike, aside from the hard part of the assignment, how did he do on the assignment?
Yeah.
Aside from the 70% of the grade, how did he do?
We still haven't.
Where's the 70% of the pie?
We still haven't really.
You don't talk, Mike. Pull up the Swiss album, Mike. It's time to go.
We still haven't truly gotten a solo album from Jay Electronica yet. You know what I'm saying? Because even on the Swiss album, and I think Jay Electronica has the best song on this album, in my personal opinion.
I concur,
even
Mike,
on
which
this
gives us
album,
more evidence that we should be pissed off, Mike.
Even on this album, he admits that he shared an album with Jay. So
very problematic.
he said that. So we still haven't gotten a Jay Electronica solo album. But in a vacuum, if you want to just rate him as a pure lyricist, I think he's top of the pile. But Leroy Green, you do understand you have to make albums, right?
Listen here. I say this respectfully. Like, I always thought he was better than Kendrick. He's still better than Kendrick. Outside of the fact that I don't have any evidence, because Kendrick has made classic album after classic album after classic album, in spite of what I think of that last album.
How could you even say he's
Mike,
better
I'm
than
not
Kendrick?
finished. This is more evidence.
But how could you say he's even better than Kendrick, though? He doesn't
No,
have
he
the
just
album.
sounds better. Like, it's like one of those things. It's like, how about this? Did you watch the game last night?
I missed that game last night.
Which game? Like, which game did you
All
watch? Any of the
them.
game?
I was
So
watching
it's
the games the night before.
Like, Mike, Russell Westbrook is playing some of the best basketball that I've seen him play in quite some time. Literally playing at MVP form. And I was watching him play last night, and I'm thinking, like, damn. Like,
Well, I had missed that.
KD's having a regular night. Both of these guys are top 75 players, and it's like, man, they're scoring the same amount of points, and Kevin Durant is, like, clearly better. Because you can just kind of tell it with your eye when you see it. It's like, no. This guy getting 30, this guy's getting 28. They're not getting it the same. Like, one of these guys is just making this shit look like it's like, I ain't even realize he had 28. I was like, this nigga got 28 points? I was like, how? Where? I was like, he's not even shooting.
I understand what you're saying. In a vacuum, you would say that...
That's who Jay Electronica. It's like, I don't even know. Like, it's just like he come out and he starts shooting, and it's like, oh, did you see the nigga shoot? It's like,
I mean, listen, and I've said this on the show before. I think that Exhibit
Randy
C...
Moss catch a football, jump. You know what I'm
Exhibit
saying?
C is probably better than any Kendrick song I've ever heard. But you still have to make... I mean, he hasn't made the he hasn't proven that he can do all the things that Kendrick has proven that he can do. So there's no way I could even entertain that Jay Electronica is better than Kendrick. But I understand what you're saying.
I'm just talking in a vacuum.
In a vacuum.
When I hear what I hear, I'm like, oh no, that guy's a better MC than that guy. I don't care what you tell me. Like, I know what I hear. When I hear that guy rap, I'm like, no, he's better than everybody from his crop.
CJ,
but we don't hear him rap.
CJ Kid
And the
with
only
the
time
super
we
chat.
heard him rap on the album, he was rapping with Jay.
Yeah. CJ Kid with the super chat says, if it's any consolation, dead end hip hop don't sound Southern either.
No, it's not a consolation. You're not making me feel better about my life plight.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, Mike, you a fan of Luda and Busta, but you saying all kind of stuff that makes me wonder sometimes. Critical is one thing, but Chainz over Luda, why? I think the musical output over a long period of time. I would have to say bar for bar, Chainz he hasn't had to dress it up with, different styles and different flows. If I just broke down the words, I would have to say that I think that, Chainz is the superior MC. And I think song for song, and I think Chainz is a better beat picker as well. Like, his production choices are crazy. You ever hear Chainz and Honorable C Note get together? It's magic, man. Like,
here's what I tell you. Like, it's one of those top-heavy conversations. I think people are remembering what Luda did at his top. And his top is better than 2 Chainz' top, but the totality is Chainz. And this is what I mean about, well, how many of y'all really have heard Chainz' catalog like that? See, Mike, we from the A, so when Chainz come out, we go listen to it from end to end. And we talk about, you know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about Trapavelli. I'm talking about Freebase. I ain't talking about just the, the mainstream albums. Like, 2 Chainz approaches the mixtape stuff like he does albums. What's the mixtape with I Got One on it, Mike? What's that?
What's the mixtape with I Got One on it? Remember that one? What was it? What mixtape was that?
I Got One. You talk
ATL, I Got One. I Got One.
You talking about
that was right before the first album.
True Religion?
True Religion, right.
Yeah, he got a lot.
He got a lot.
Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, best radio show was The Quiet Storm on V103. Soft and warm, Quiet Storm.
You want to know what? Might be right. Quiet
Joyce Littell, she had a great voice too, radio voice.
No, that's further.
Mad Max with the super chat says, Earl the Pearl, Dr. J, Bernard King, Kareem with Nate Archibald, Artest, Odom, Strickland, Cuzzy, etc. Cool. You can't be number 2. New York got the greatest hoopers.
Fam, I got 2 top 10 players. I got Curry and I got Mike. Who else got 2 top 10 players?
He went Bob Cousy on you though. Let's see.
Damn all that.
All right, for the people that you pick,
how about this? Think about this. My starting backcourt is Curry and Michael Jordan. I got 2 top 12 guys at worst. Who else got 2 top 12? Y'all got Kareem. That's the only top 10.
We got Kareem.
That's the only top 15 player. You got Kareem and Dr. J. I'll take Curry and I'll take Mike. We're going to run y'all out the gym.
But if we got, hold on. If we got a lineup where
Mike's going to be dunking all on Dr. J. You hear me?
If we got a lineup where it's Nate Archibald.
Is that your point guard?
Point guard Nate Archibald. Let's just say we roll with
smaller than Steph.
Let's roll with Dr. J at the 2, right? You know what I'm saying? And then we'll roll with Artest at the 3. You got Artest at the 3. You got Lamar Odom and you got Kareem. That's a great lineup.
Let me find the center from North Carolina, Mike. We about to beat. Mike, first of all, I got you at the 1. I got you at the 1. I got you at the 2. I got you at the 3. Because I got Stackhouse. You got Artest.
I think Artest will lock Stackhouse up.
I don't think so. Stackhouse had 25 point per game seasons.
You got Stackhouse over Artest?
Yes.
Now that I disagree with.
He made more All-Star teams than Artest did.
Did he?
Want to pull it up? See, Mike, you trying me in these streets. Mike, go to the next topic while I find North Carolina.
Now, let me get through these super chats. Michael Williams with the super chat
New Yorkers think y'all running stuff. When the last time the Knicks won something?
Well, you think the Knicks going to make it out this series?
Mike, I don't think it matters, Mike, because Milwaukee's what's waiting for them.
The Knicks look good in game 1. I ain't going to front.
That's great. I'd like to thank them for making it to the second round like every year of my life, but like they ain't winning shit. All right, that's great.
Michael
Next.
Williams with the super chat says,
They
"Who's
whack, Mike.
unreleased?"
They Hawks North, Mike.
Let me
The
get to
Hawks
these
have made
super
it
chats.
further than the
Dude.
Knicks the last 20 years.
It's happened, yeah. Michael Williams with
We're
the
a better
super chat
franchise than the
says,
Knicks.
"Whose
Get outta
unreleased catalog is stronger between Pac and Nas? Could be interesting. Patreon and OG unreleased Pac songs versus Nas. I'm gonna have to say Nas on the unreleased tip because I'm floored by all of the unreleased Nas stuff that I continuously discover.
Mike, never mind. James Worthy from North Carolina. Give me James. You think
Yeah.
Ron Artest is better than James Worthy?
Nah,
So I got Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, and James Worthy. 1, 2, 3. Who? It don't matter who I got at the 4 and the 5, but I'm gonna find you a center. North Carolina got better ballers. Sorry. Ain't it for you? We got more rings too. You take Kareem's rings out, y'all ain't really got no rings like that. Rod Strickland ain't got no rings. Mark Jackson walking around with some rings. Kenny Anderson walking around with some rings. Bernard King walking around with some rings.
I don't co-sign the New York slander.
Nigga, what? Who walking around with some rings? No, North Carolina players got rings. James Worthy got rings. Michael Jordan got rings. Steph Curry got rings. You niggas ain't got no rings outside of Kareem.
Steph
How
ain't
about
from
that?
Akron?
Run, tell him Coop said it.
Steph,
Tell him Coop said it. Chicago got better ballers than New York, Mike. They got Isaiah. They got Wade. They got D Rose. Stop playing.
Steph ain't from Akron? CJ Kidd with the super chat says, was Greg Street the funk flex of the South? I think Greg Street is the funk flex of the South. I would
Mike,
have to say
he don't mean
yes.
that in a good way. Mike, oh no. Oh, Mike.
It's always in a good way. They let
I'm not done, Mike. Maybe David Thompson or Bob McAdoo, Mike. Can I interest you in David Thompson or Bob McAdoo? Maybe
Okay.
Brad Doherty. Maybe John Wall.
If
Maybe
I were
Chris
you,
Paul.
I'd pick Brad Doherty.
You don't want no smoke, Mike. Cedric Maxwell, Brandon Ingram. They want to go old school Bob Cousy. I got Phil Ford, Sam Jones.
Sam Jones is a good one. I would pick Brad Doherty. Leroy Green with the super chat says, Coop, make sure those Nas features that you say are greater than Jay had more impact too. Not just
like
a
the
bunch
Mariah
of...
Carey record that's better than the J. Mariah Carey record? You mean like that?
It
Like
says,
the Mary record
let me
that's
finish,
better?
Coop, let me finish. It says, not just a bunch of B-sides nobody remembers. Bars.
No. We going
facts.
features. We going features.
You think that Nas got the better features? I don't know.
See,
Jay's
what's wrong
features
with
are
y'all
crazy.
is y'all are some radio groupies from y'all era. And what y'all gonna find out is that those J records that you keep on holding up in your mind, there's only like 2 or 3 of those features that hold them like you say. I'm about to pull you out. You come
Jay
out
Short with the
streets,
super chat says,
that whole yes, y'all and Jigga Man be balling, that ain't about to take you far with Esco, son. It's not going anywhere. Just like the Knicks ain't going anywhere, especially versus North Carolina.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I never really loved the fix like that. It's cool, but a little too polished for Scarface. Too polished for a Scarface album for me. I still hate My Block. His 5th best album. Whoa.
Mike, I'm not done putting New Yorkers in their place about this basketball shit. So I got Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, James Worthy, David Thompson. Mike, guess what? I'm going to play small ball on you, and I'm going to take McAdoo. I'm going to take those 5 guys, and who New York got this better than those 5 guys?
That's a great lineup.
Those are all Hall of Famers. But, Mike, I got 4 scoring champions in my top 5. McAdoo, scoring champion. David Thompson, scoring champion. Steph Curry, scoring champion. Michael Jordan, scoring champion. Who y'all got outside Kareem again? And where are those rings? Because Bob McAdoo got a ring with the Lakers, too. Got rings, Mike. We win at basketball in North Carolina. Y'all look good at basketball in New York. We win at basketball in North Carolina.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, where does Grip on it on another level?
Never forget that shit.
Where does Grip on it on another level and Mr. Scarface's back fall? Seems like those should be top 10. I personally like Mr. Scarface's back. That's
I think
the one.
Mr. Scarface's back is better than The Fix. That's why I'm like, The Fix ain't top 10. It's his 3rd best album.
My personal favorite Scarface album is Mr. Scarface's Back. I just like where he was going on that album.
I get you. It's just he's such a better rapper on the diary.
Oh yeah, he is.
The beats are so much, but Mike, the beats are better. He's better. It's more concise.
Mr. Scarface's Back is just so raw, man. It's kind of like an NWA spinoff almost.
It's very uncut.
Yeah. Anime Bros podcast with a super chat says, Hove is one of the few elite New York MCs that love the South. He's mad at the wrong person. He got mad at T.I. for shouting Jay on a song. The B thing is weird too. Let's see what else we got. Super chats. We kind of went off on a tangent and didn't get back to Jim Jones, but I think it's about time for us to get to
I didn't know
other
that there was more to talk about. We named like 20 rappers who 5 songs most people can't.
Right.
I don't even know why Jim's doing this. Like, all jokes aside, I don't know.
Where do you think this is coming from? It's like
that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to like see the motive behind it, and I'm just not even seeing like how is this even working for you? Because here's the thing about it. It's like, man, I'm not saying this because I'm a fan. I'm not saying this because I'm from the South. I'm not saying this because my state's connected to his state. It's like, you ain't see what just happened? It's like, that's the guy you poking at?
Exactly. I was just about to go there.
That's the last guy from
let's keep it a buck.
This area is concerned.
Exactly. Let's keep it all the way a buck. Since we talking about the Kendrick and Drake thing and all that stuff.
The last guy.
If Pusha actually comes out and uses this as momentum to come at Jim Jones, there's nothing Jim Jones can do against a Pusha T diss record. It's not.
Hell have no fury, Mike.
It's nothing.
And I'm not talking about the album, Mike.
It's nothing he can do if Pusha T locks in and goes in on Jim Jones. It's nothing.
Like, he has to be thinking to himself, like, how seriously should I take or engage into this right now?
It's almost like he is baiting him. And again, like you said, what's the end game here? Like, why was Jim Jones even on the Breakfast Club? To talk about Pusha? Like,
now, Mike, in the Art of War, it talks about how you set a diversion, to ensnare and, take your enemy captive. You know what I'm saying? So maybe this is the diversion?
I think so. It seems like a sneak attack.
It's like, focus and attention has been focused, one way and in such direction for so long that maybe giving somebody a little bit of, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, he's married now, he's had a kid, he's getting nominated for Grammys. Let's see if a little diversion doesn't work. And maybe listen to this. Maybe he can use some of his bars over here before I come and he has to go over here. Now you use some of your ammo. You feel what I'm saying?
I take it that Pusha T is the type of MC that will use this as fuel. And as a Pusha T fan and as somebody who really wasn't a big fan of It's Almost Dry, I like this. I think this is a good thing. This can get him to lock in and really make the album that I would like to hear.
It's Almost Dry has grown on me, Mike.
It's okay. I mean, again,
it's very problematic acting like that.
I feel like he can do better. I do.
He can do better, Mike. I mean, it's not Daytona, but it's like when I look at it, it's like, no, Brambleton, Let the Smoker Shine the Coupe, Diet Coke, 1-800 Call My Bluff, Open Air. It's like neck and wrist. Like, nah, he did his job.
Well,
it's a 4, Mike.
Just like I say to Jay-Z, man, I think Pusha needs to get...
and shit don't be cutting it when you at that level, do it.
I think that Push needs to get back.
But we love Method Man and Jadakiss, and they don't be giving us 4s like Pusha do.
Pusha needs to get back with Kanye and take this to heart and really put it in the bars. I would really like to hear that. And again,
Kanye was the problem with this album, Mike. All the hot tracks are with Pharrell.
He was.
Brambleton is Pharrell. The only thing Kanye gave Push was Diet Coke, and that's with 88 Keys, which means the only thing he gave him was old.
All right, well, this is what I will say. I think what needs to happen is he needs to either get locked in with Kanye full time or get locked in with Pharrell full time. But trying to fit both of them on the same project is not the best idea, in my opinion.
No, he thought about it the right way. It's just, here's the thing about it, like, sometimes when you put dream teams together, that don't mean that you win the championship with that team.